When subtracting two numbers, we make sure that one number is written directly underneath another one, keeping the numbers in the same columns. So we can see here we've got the units column in blue, we've got the tens column in red, the hundreds column in green, and then the thousands column in orange. And what we do is we do the subtraction starting from the right hand column, moving to the left. Before we start, we should estimate an answer. We've got 2000 minus, let's say, approximately 300, so we can expect our answer to be 1700. In fact, it'll be a little less than that because we're subtracting more than 300. So our first subtraction is 1 minus 2. Now that doesn't appear to make sense because we're subtracting a number bigger than 1 away from it. So what we need to do is look at borrowing from the next column on the left, which is the tens column. Unfortunately, that's a 0. So what we then need to do is look to the column to the left of that. That's the hundreds column, but that's also a 0. So if this occurs, we need to keep moving to our left until we find a number that's not 0, in this case the thousands column. So we're going to borrow from the thousands column and keep taking it to the columns to the right. Let's borrow from the thousands column, but before we show it in our main working, we'll do it at the base of our diagram here. So we'll take a 1 from the thousands column, so what was 2000 becomes 1000, that's shown in orange. And we've moved a 1 across to the 100s column. You can see that in the top left hand corner of the 0. What we'll then do is we'll borrow a 1 from the hundreds column, so what was 10 100s will now become 9, and we'll shift one of those across to the tens column. So now we have 10 hundreds. Our next step is to borrow from the tens column. So we take a 1 from the tens column, which is in red, and that becomes 9 tens, and we move across to the units column. So what was 1 has a little 1 in the top left hand corner there in blue, and that's in effect 11. We'll now transfer our working to the main part of the subtraction problem, and we can see there that we've got 11 minus 2 in the units column, and that's 9. So in the units column below the 1, 1 and 2 in blue, we'll place a 9. Now we continue to move to our right, and we can see in red in the tens column we've got 9 minus 5. Because the 0's been crossed out in the red, that no longer exists, and it's just 9 minus 5. So we place a 4 in the tens column, and then we continue to move again to our left. In the 100s column in green, we've got 9 minus 3, and that's 6. Similarly to what we said before, the 0's crossed out in the green, so we're only referring to the 9 and the 3. So we place a 6 in the 100s column. Our last column that remains is the thousands column. There's no number in the bottom line, so it's simply 1 minus 0, and that's 1. So what we then do is we place a 1 in the thousands column in orange, and we can see that our final answer for 2001 subtract 352 is 1649. And the working that we can see here in black is what you'd see on pen and paper if you're using the one colour.